Today we're going to talk about a film that apparently doesn't exist. I'm hyperboling. It exists, you're looking right at it. But nobody talks about this film. I think I've seen one, maybe two people who even recognize its existence on this site, and of course I could be searching through these things incorrectly, or whatever, and that's a very apt point. When you go on to Google and you want to look up any reviews about this film, you might find 5 people on the Google review sites, you might find people on Letterboxd talking about it, but it's very quiet. It's a very quiet film that has very little in the way of people talking about it. And granted, it's a fairly old film. It might be the 90s. Let's find out. 1996. Okay. This is called American Buffalo, starring Dustin Hoffman. I hate the color of the font for the actors here. Dennis Franz and Sean Nelson. I believe this is Dennis Franz, and then Sean Nelson's the guy who's not shown on the cover. If you look at the back, yeah, I believe that's Nelson right there. And if that's not, then swap them, because there's literally 3 people in this movie. Just 3 people. Just 3 people. Dustin Hoffman, Franz, or Nelson. I didn't look up their names. It's just 3 people. Conning. Oh, right. Conning, as you know. Conning. Cheating, stealing, yeah. Conning, stealing, and lying are all in a day's work. I guess that's apt. He is a con man. He is a con man. And the other guy's a con man. They're all 3. All 3 of these characters are con men. They're all seeking to con each other, trying to get a quick buck. If we look at the back of the film and read the premise here, 2-time Academy Award winner Dustin Hoffman and 2-time Emmy winner Dennis Franz deliver tour de force performances as volatile small-time hustlers in this edgy, electrifying story of trust, betrayal, and loyalty gone dangerously awry. American Buffalo is riveting study in human virtue and vulnerability from Pulitzer Prize winner David Mamet and director Michael Current. For down-and-out junk dealer Don. Okay, so that I was right, that is France. Life goes from unlucky to unbearable when he discovers that the rare buffalo head nickel he just sold for $90 is worth 10 times as much. Refusing to let himself be outswindled, Don enlists the help of a young protege in a scheme to steal the coin back, but their plans are suddenly altered by the intrusion of Teach, a disturbingly aggressive would-be thief who badgers Don into cutting him in on the heist, a decision that carries explosive consequences for everyone involved. I believe this was originally a screenplay, like for a play, theater written for a play, for theater, right? Because you've seen theater performances of this. You'll see theater performances of this. And then they made it a movie. Would you say that it transitioned well into a movie? Maybe. It's just not for everybody. And what I mean by that is, this is what you would call a dialogue movie. Now, what do I mean by that? Oh, goody, what do I mean by that? And what's a good example of showing you what I mean by that? Blah, 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 blah. Here we go. Let's just pull this out. Compared to a film like Roadhouse, which is not just a dialogue film, but has a bunch of punching and kicking and action set pieces, a dialogue movie usually does not involve a lot of set pieces in different locations, large casts, and all that other world hopping and crap like that. A dialogue movie focuses on precisely what the title implies. Dialogue. The bulk of this film is going to be these characters talking to each other. Not a lot of things are happening outside of them talking to each other. Dustin Hoffman delivers a lot of lines that you're probably going to forget within the hour. Don, the character here, Don, who is played by Dennis Franz, is also going to reply with a lot of lines that you are also going to probably forget within the hour. They are joined by Nelson here, whose name I believe is Bobby in the film, and he also delivers a few lines, not a lot. The bulk of the film is about these two people talking to each other. This guy is just there to show up occasionally to push the story forward a little bit, here and there and there and here. He doesn't do a lot of dialogue, but he does deliver important story bits that are off screen. His guy here, Don, plays a pawn shop broker. He owns a pawn shop full of various junk that he tries to sell for a profit. Naturally, this is what you would do if you were here to turn a profit for something. So let's say somebody tried to pawn in this pen, right? Let's imagine for a moment that this pen was a collectible pen that's probably worth about $100, and the pawn shop guy, he purchased this pen for, say, $10. He doesn't know this pen is worth $100, and somebody comes in and buys the pen for $15. Now, he thinks he's turning a profit since he purchased this pen for $10, and he's making $5 off of the deal, so he lets it go. Then he realizes when he looks into one of these little pen collectible books and finds out that this pen is actually worth $100 and finds that he's been ripped off. Well, double ripped off. He ripped off the guy turning the pen in, and then he got ripped off by selling it for a lot lower than what it's actually worth. But that's what the job of the pawnbroker is supposed to be. He's supposed to keep up with the prices of all sorts of collectibles. He should have known that the pen was worth $100 rather than the $15 that he sold it for. You can't fault him for everything because everybody's not perfect, and this is the 90s. It's not like we could just Google up what is this pen worth, right? Now, I just basically told you the gist of the story here. Replace this pen with a collectible coin, a American buffalo. I don't have one of those to show you as an example of what that type of coin means, but I might actually, I just might. I'm going to do one of those little cuts. Welcome back. I have done a little bit of research for you. This is basically what an American buffalo looks like, and of course the light is probably not going to be good for light pollution, all that stuff. Let's see if I can show you. Can it? Yeah, there you go. See that? That's an American buffalo. It's got a Native American on the front and a buffalo on the back, right? Right. Very simple, very easy to understand. Now, one of those was traded in to Don, and he misdetermined the price of the collectible coin and sold it off, pawned it back off for a lot less than what it was worth, and now he wants it back. So he enlists the aid of our little boy here to reclaim the coin, purchase it back for the $90 that was paid to him for it. So he gives the kid $90 to get that coin back, because it's worth 10 times that, at the very least, about $900, maybe to $1,000, all depends. It's worth a lot more than what he got for it. While he's out muttering about this, we meet Dustin Hoffman. Dustin Hoffman seems to be a guy down on his luck. He has very bad anger issues, and he's talking a mile a minute about all sorts of things, and you know that this man is just unhinged. His life isn't going the way he necessarily wants it to go, and he wants a good heist. He needs a good fix, and he smells that fix off of this guy. This guy says that he's got a coin that he wants to get reclaimed, and he says, why don't we just take it? We could just take it. And we could take more than just the coin. We could take everything that the collector has collected, and then we could look through all this coin book that you have and find all these collectible coins and then just pawn them all off and make a killing. And this guy's almost buying into that idea, and he's trying to keep this kid out of the criminal side of it. He's still trying to get him to collect that coin back for the $90 that it was sold for. And the three of them just start interacting, and the whole story starts getting more and more messed up. These two form a plan, three-man team. The third person ends up getting into an accident, which might be the fault of Nelson's character here, Bobby. It might be his fault, but we don't necessarily know. He suspects that it is, so he gets aggressive towards Bobby, and he actually hits the kid over the head, giving him a bad concussion. And that puts these two characters at ease, and then they decide to call off the plan. They call off the plan, and they go about the day. He doesn't necessarily like this idea of calling off the plan, so he just trashes the guy's pawn shop. And then at the end of it, he says, "You should probably fix up your pawn shop. It's a mess." As if you're supposed to find that funny. But it is a little bit funny, because... And so at the end, the two of them take this kid to the hospital, and then the film ends. The set for this whole entire film is just a single street. And for the bulk of the film, you're in this guy's pawn shop. That is the bulk of the film. For about an hour and 15 minutes, you spend in this pawn shop with these guys just talking to each other. That's what I mean by a dialogue film. It's nothing but dialogue. They're just gonna talk about doing things, but nothing actually happens. So if you like that type of idea, that type of dialogue film, you might want to give this a look at. You might want to give this a try. Because yes, it's got a big name here. 2 big names. He's a little bit older than this guy in regards to big names, because, you know, he's been in a whole lot of stuff after this as well. But they're good actors, and apparently the budget could only afford them because everything else got thrown into the back burner. You just have a single pawn shop and nothing else. They can't afford to go anywhere else. But then that's probably the idea of the dialogue movie. That probably might be why he liked it so much. He had the most lines. Dustin just never shuts up. And if you don't like that, then probably you might be put off to this film. But if you do like that, then you might like this film. It all depends on your tastes. I would recommend you give this film one watch if it's available for free on streaming, because I think the dollar might have beaten me on this one. Yes, this is a dollar bin video. Like I told you before, at the dollar store, there was this thing going on with a bunch of MGM and Echo Bridge releases. I've gone through most of the Echo Bridge releases, so I'm gonna go through a couple of the MGM films. There we go, like that. So we're gonna go through some of those. Be imaginative, everybody.